I kept talking to all these coaches and thinking, is this for me? Is this not for me? I was looking at all these courses, and it's just something will strike you. Honestly, I had asked for advice for this mentor on Instagram. I just asked her a question. She came back with loads of advice. We just started chatting, and it was like a jigsaw puzzle. It clicked into place. And I was thinking, okay, I could do this.
Hello and welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm Brittany Cates, your host on this incredible journey of career transformation. Get ready for inspiring stories, valuable insights, and a roadmap to shift your mindset towards a more fulfilling professional life. In each episode, we explore the remarkable journeys of individuals who made a career change, offering motivation, strategies, and the confidence to pursue your dreams. Whether you're feeling stuck, contemplating a change, or just seeking a dose of inspiration, this podcast is your weekly companion. Tune in every Thursday as we uncover the secrets to shifting your day job. Welcome back to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. Before I introduce today's guest, I've got something special to share with you. If you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed in the job search, I know how frustrating it can be to endlessly scroll through job boards only to feel like you're getting nowhere. That's why I created a free mini course to help you shift from confusion to clarity and avoid the one big mistake that may be holding you back. In this training, I'll guide you step by step through the exact strategy you need to make your career transition with confidence. No more second guessing your qualifications or feeling stuck in a cycle of random job searching. You'll learn how to focus on your strengths, align your passions with your next opportunity, and create a job search plan that actually works. By the end of this course, you'll have a clear, actionable roadmap to start landing the career you've always dreamed of without the overwhelm. If you're ready to take action and step into your future, DM me on Instagram at Shift Your Day Job with the word mini course, and I will send you the link to get you started on your journey towards a more fulfilling, aligned career. In today's episode, I'm joined by the amazing Lauren Raybould, founder of Freshly Brewed, to talk about how she empowers women entrepreneurs through business and social media coaching. Lauren's background in journalism, copywriting, and social media management has led her to transition from offering marketing services to providing coaching that helps women find the work-life balance that they've been craving. Lauren shares her inspiring story of launching her business during maternity leave, while also navigating burnout and overcoming workplace discrimination. In our conversation, we dive into the importance of finding the right coaching programs, prioritizing self-care, and creating a supportive community, especially for women going through career transitions. If you've ever struggled with self-doubt, setting boundaries, or wondering how to invest in your personal growth while making a career shift, this episode is packed with practical advice and actionable strategies. Lauren also shares her insights on habit stacking and using positive affirmations, tools that can help you create a fulfilling career that truly aligns with your values. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite drink and tune in for an empowering conversation that will inspire you to trust your instincts and embrace your unique career path. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode filled with insights to help you achieve the career of your dreams. Without further ado, please welcome Lauren Raybould to the podcast. Hi, Lauren. Welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Probably a little bit tired. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm excited to have you on the show today because I would love for you to share with our audience how you became like a marketing copyright specialist and what that journey looked like for you. So if you don't mind starting with your story.
Wow, yes. So I'm going to have to date you back to when I was in university, but trust me, the journey is worth it. The context is there. So I graduated in journalism, creative writing. So I went into business journalism for a marketing agency, burnt out completely, wanted to do something fun. So I started my first business, which was book editing and copywriting. But it was during COVID. I had a long-term relationship fall apart. I had to think. So I did everything I could to work and get out of that situation. So I was a bartender. I was a cafe manager. I was all sorts whilst I was still freelancing on the side because, still wanted to have that bit of, 'cause I love what I do. I ended up pivoting into social media and community building. And that was for a video games company, which was amazing. It was fun. Unfortunately, the managers were not the best with my pregnancy. So this rolls around to I fell pregnant. They were okay until I needed to work remotely. So I had some discrimination there. And then it all came to a halt this year in May when I asked for, so in the UK, you can submit a flexible working request. You have every right to do. So I submitted one because my baby was breastfed, but he would not take a bottle at that point. So I couldn't leave him in daycare. I couldn't leave him with anyone else. And they said no. They point blank refused. And my mind was like, that's it. I'm gone. And I quit during maternity leave. And I launched my business on my last day of maternity leave.
That's a bold move, especially when you're like, I need a job. But these people aren't like, they're not my people. If they're going to say no to something like that, then this isn't the place for me. And that takes a lot of courage to be like, okay, let's let it go. So that's a really empowering story for some people to hear because it's not an easy thing to do. Can you maybe share a little bit about how you were able to do that? How you were able to just have that courage to do that?
Yeah. At first, I didn't. So I knew my work was going to be iffy. So I'd started to apply for any other remote jobs that I could do. I didn't have that courage at the beginning. And I think a lot of women may relate to that because it feels like you've got a solid path. So that's your stability on your job. And then you're walking off the edge of the cliff. And that's what it feels like. And I must have had the same conversation with my partner about 10 times before I even took the leap because I was like, is this going to be okay if I do this? What if I don't get many clients to begin with? Like all those questions, could we support ourselves?
Right.
And the answer was yes. And he kept telling me yes because I'm a worrier. I get anxious. I wanted to make sure that my family will be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, just something shifted in me. Like you just think it's now or never. And it's like this heartbeat moment where you feel like your heartbeat is just going to beat right out of your chest. And honestly, when I did it and when I started launching things and my partner had given me the money to set up my website and get a paid plan and things like that, I felt my smile was genuine. Like it was, I could feel the relief, this burden release, even though I didn't know what the future was going to look like. I started off providing marketing services and have pivoted into social media and business coaching as well. So I've taken a turn and it's been a massive journey since I launched in June. So it's not even been 6 months yet. And
Yeah.
it's been fab.
That's amazing. It sounds like in the process, because uh, what you're doing has evolved, the people that have been coming to you have maybe asked you for this additional help or services. Is that correct? And that's what kind of
Yeah.
has shifted you a bit.
Yes. I was working with like a lady on her email marketing and then I asked her about her business plan and she said, I don't have one. And I was like, oh, okay. You need to have this and it all has to be aligned. All your ducks need to be in the row. And I found myself like on forums and threads and Facebook groups, just giving loads of business advice. And I thought, actually, I'm pretty good at it. So I looked into like a certification. So I invested myself in a mentor and I took some coaching courses and that's where it's led me. And for those women out there who think I can't invest in myself because of X, Y, and Z, honestly do it because money isn't permanent.
Yeah.
You can afford it. And
Yeah. The initial thought about your return on investment of investing in yourself is like, oh, I have to get this result in order to like make that money back, or that's initially the thought. And it's reconsidering, okay, if that didn't happen, if I don't make the money back in this 3-month period, are the other benefits going to be my return on the investment? And it's really trusting and betting on yourself that whatever I will learn and grow, and it will guide me down a more lucrative path, right? In the long run. And so I think that's where we have It's like the long run, like idea where we get stuck and we're like, but I don't want it to take that long. So, yeah, what is it about the mindset that you had that you were able to say, yes, I'm going to invest in myself?
So again, I didn't have it at the beginning. So I was doing like this free challenge set by another coach, which are really good. They're really useful. Obviously, they're not personalized, they're not tailored, and you can't bank on those. So I was chatting to her and I was thinking, oh, this could work. And I ended up, because of the challenge, ended up winning a free one-to-one with her, which was amazing. I was like, oh, this is amazing. She was pitching me this, it was a very pricey program. And I was thinking, oh, I can do it. I might be able to do it. I came away from that one-to-one feeling so defeated and deflated because she wasn't who I aligned with. She didn't understand I was a busy mum. I'm only working part-time. I work in the evenings when I can. And she was trying to suggest these things that would take up all my time and it just wouldn't benefit me. So I kept talking to all these coaches and thinking, is this for me? Is this not for me? I was looking at all these courses and it's just something will strike you. Honestly, I had asked for advice for this mentor on Instagram. I just asked her a question. She came back with loads of advice. We just started chatting and it was like a jigsaw puzzle. It clicked into place. And I was thinking, okay, I could do this. If I got one more client in, I could afford this and it wouldn't rock the boat in our finances. And she's saying you'd see results within 3 to 6 months. And I was like, that's pretty good. So I went from that finance mindset where I was thinking, oh, I don't know. And then my partner sat down and was just like, what's the worst that could happen? Even if you don't get the clients, you might learn things. And I was thinking, yeah. And it was at that point where, like, I had a client stop, I'd had a client pause, and I was just thinking, where's my next couple of months coming from? And I was like, all right, this is now or never. This is literally now or never. I'm going to go for it. And yeah, I'm 2 months into a 3 month program and I'm already getting clients for my coaching and I've pretty much almost made back the investment. And I think the changing my mindset and looking into manifesting and affirmations and like she's got me into all of this. And honestly, I think it's just priceless. Like that's just, yeah. And
Yeah, I think you mentioned something really important because it's finding something that works for you. And so there is a theme, right? Because your previous job, once you had your child, like that wasn't going to work for you anymore. And so you had to find something that would work for you. And it's the same with this coaching program. Like that other coach and her challenge really helped lead you to the right person, even though it wasn't her. And you do have to consider all of those things on top of the investment itself. And I love that you've mentioned your partner a couple of times and how he is able to support you and have those important conversations to help you make up your mind or help you get to the mindset you need to get to over time. And so, can you talk a little bit more about him and maybe any other support system that you have through this?
of course, I will happily talk about my partner. He is absolutely wonderful. So he works in IT. So he has a hybrid working role. So he's with us a couple of days a week from home to support with the baby and everything. And he's just been my biggest champion. I've had another friend who's been really supportive as well. So I'll talk about her in a sec. But he believes in me more than I believe in myself. And obviously, I still have mindset stuff to deal with and that sort of thing because I do doubt myself a lot. Even now, even I've come this way, but he brings me out of the box and looking at the bigger picture. And I think people who do that, you keep around. If they can talk you out of your little box, keep them around. But yeah, so we're very busy at the moment. So obviously, he encouraged me to go through my coaching, encouraged me to go for the course. He's also on a course himself. So he works full time. He helps out with James, and he is also on a course to better himself. So he's becoming a software developer. So yeah, it's a very busy household, but we make it work and we find time for each other. And that's also important as well, especially if you have got kids. Like you still find that little golden moment.
Yeah, I love that because You talked about some pretty like crucial conversations that you've had. So obviously you're making the time to have that one on one or have that opportunity to connect and communicate on a regular basis, which is super important, especially when it feels like you're going every which way. So that's amazing.
Exactly. And then my friend, so yes, she is wonderful. For anyone who's obviously been in a very horrible workplace and you've got that best friend, work friend who's like that camaraderie, oh, should we quit tomorrow? Let's do it. That kind of, she's that friend. And we both made it happen. So I went first, obviously, and she was loving it. She was my cheerleader. She got me a goodbye present. We stayed in touch, and then she managed to find somewhere else as well. Yeah, she's just been amazing. The WhatsApp voice notes are late into the night.
Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. I can relate. And was it her seeing you walk away and be successful in this that kind of helped her do the same thing? Or
I think so, because people have this loyalty to companies who don't necessarily reciprocate the same loyalty. And I think that's what she felt. She felt she'd been there a couple of years. She felt bad for leaving, but then she saw me do it. She saw how happy I was and how at peace I was because, like, I did get over it. Like, the whole discrimination that brought up a lot of feelings and I worked through them. And she just saw how happy I was on the other end. So it's just so free, carefree, and yeah, and I think that really did help her think, actually, I want better for myself.
yeah, I think it's really important, especially as women, to realize that when we do something that for ourselves that's really bringing us that peace and that freedom and that abundance into our life, it gives other women permission to do the same thing. It's
Yeah.
not, if I do it, then they're missing out on something, right? No, they can see you as the example and then they can start choosing something that's going to fulfill them more. And I just think it's a really interesting thing to think about because I think, especially as women, we're very much concerned about other people and taking care of or being kind and not making them feel bad or whatever. That sometimes that prevents us from actually doing things that are going to be good for us. And even with the company, right? Oh, I feel bad for leaving. And yet that's not, we don't owe them any loyalty, right? And by us pursuing this new path, it's just going to open up more opportunities and doors, and it'd be a great example for other people of what they can do too.
Yeah, exactly. I think the whole, like, working for other people and the 9 to 5 life, there was loyalty, obviously, a couple of decades ago, but now companies don't treat people the same. They just and I'm not saying it's all companies, but a lot of companies are out there just using people, and they would replace you in a heartbeat, and I think that's what I try to remember when I felt bad asking for what I was asking for. They would replace me in a heartbeat.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday and she was talking about how in your workplace, you need to think of yourself as the product that you're selling, like the value of you to the company if you're wanting to move within that organization, or if you're applying to new jobs or pursuing something else, you need to consider yourself like the product that you're selling, sharing the value of what you bring to the table. And so I think that relates to this idea of taking control of your career, right? Like you're not at the mercy of the company. You can choose one way or the other, but you're really not at the mercy of the company. This is your career and your life, and you get to choose where you want to share it,
Yeah,
be a part.
100%. I think that's really fascinating, that is, because like, you really got to, like, then market yourself as that product, and I guess it's that awareness.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. From a marketer, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And so she was talking about the three different things you need to consider. And one of them is marketing, right? Like marketing yourself
Yeah.
and selling yourself.
And I
So,
think people struggle to do that as well, even in, like, their own business. I feel like people are trying not to be too boasty or braggy, but they're also, like, not quite sure how to highlight the good qualities of themselves. That's what I found a lot of women
absolutely.
struggle with.
Absolutely. Which I think relates to what you're saying about your partner. Like, He's helped you see outside of your box that you're in. And that's what we need. We need community and we need support and we need a network of people that are going to help us see those things.
Yes, exactly. And this is so my whole story and what happened to me shaped who I help as well. So I help women, I help female service providers, and it's all about building a sustainable business so that they can leave their 9 to 5, or they can work around the kids, or they can go on holiday if they want, or take an afternoon off and their business won't like perish or whatever. Like it's just building that life because your life should have all these wonderful, like varied elements in it, and work should only be one of them.
Mhm. Work should only be one of them. And yeah, it takes up so much of our time. And so
Yeah.
if you're in a job that you're not happy with or that's not supporting you in the way that you need, then it's maybe time to reconsider, is this the best place for me to be or the best job for me to be pursuing?
100%. And as soon as I had that switch of unhappiness in every job I've had, I've gone. I don't stick around for bad managers. I don't tolerate it.
Yeah.
And I think like finding your path, and it's okay to go through a couple of bad places and then say, actually, this is it, because you will get that moment. And it's all about thinking about it smartly as well as taking that leap. I think that there has to be like a right balance. Obviously, if you cannot support yourself on it, then maybe not take the leap yet, but think smartly. Like, how can I build the business around my 9 to 5 so I can make that leap?
Exactly. Not everybody has the luxury of just walking away when something changes at your job that you don't like. But also, I think there is something to be said about setting boundaries for yourself. And if that's unacceptable for you to put up with somebody that's going to treat you poorly, then by all means, honor those boundaries and trust that you will figure out
Yeah.
what's next. If we go back to this idea of like worst case scenario, uh, like what's the worst case scenario? You find another job that's terrible, find
Yeah,
another
exactly.
boss that you don't get along. I don't know. It's not, you got yourself to this job that you're in now, and you're going to find something else. Like you're going to figure something else out. And considering that as well, like how far you have gotten yourself and what is the real actual worst case scenario in this instance?
So for me personally, my worst case scenario,
If you had something to share, sure.
I think for me, when I first started the business, the worst case scenario for me was my portion of the bills and stuff would be onto Joe to pay, my partner, which for me was like the evilest thing ever because I'm so independent. I'm so financially independent. I'm stubborn. I've always been this way. I've always supported other people in the past, in past relationships. I've been the main earner and things like that. I've always been able to pay my way. So like for me, but this is the beauty of a relationship that is equal and supportive, and that money, it's not, our finances aren't separate in that regard because we're building a life. We have a child. It's one of those. And I think that was really nice to hear as well. But yeah, I guess like worst case scenario for people, I guess yeah, for other women, you might not make as much money as you want in the first couple of months, but you'll always, if you can, you'll be able to find clients. But it's attracting the right ones that you want.
Yeah. And that worst case scenario is going to be different for everyone. But I think you bring us a really good point of what is it that's getting in your way that, like for you, it's like independence. So I've always been the breadwinner, like provided for myself. I've always gotten it done. Right. And what if I don't do that anymore? And then you're reflecting that judgment on yourself and you're beating yourself up over it. Oh, that I would be terrible. It would be terrible if I did that. And that defines me. And again, having that outsider's perspective of like, no, we're in this together. Like I'm willing to take that chance and we'll make it work. So
I do think when we torture ourselves with these worst case scenarios, we add permanence to it as well, as if it could be a temporary state, a temporary phase, like it might last a month or two. But we don't know that because we're just dead setting. And again, that's just mindset. We're putting that permanence to it. And that's
mm,
what I found.
no, I like that idea. If this happens, this will be forever, right? It's just like
Right.
this big, yeah, we make it bigger in our minds, right? Than
Yes.
the reality often is. Yeah.
And if we're in
Um,
our little box, it might reflect and it just gets overwhelming then because it's bouncing back at you. And then it overtakes and it's all you can think about.
then from that energy, you're not able to actually take the aligned action that you need in order to make a change or to find the new job or to get the clients, right? Because you're holding yourself back in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned a little earlier about mindset and working with that. Is it your current coach or from the challenge? Can you talk a little bit more about that and what you're doing and how it's helped you?
Yeah, of course. So obviously, as I was shifting mindsets, you gain an awareness, and I feel like you can spot it in other people as well. First off, but so I had dipped my toe into manifesting slightly, just giving those because I've always struggled with self doubt and confidence and all that sort of thing. So I thought we're starting a business, now's the time to tackle it. So I started looking into positive affirmations and gratitude. So I'd practice gratitude every day. And obviously, as a busy mom, you just have to find the slithers of time to put it in. And so, what I've been doing is I say three things I'm grateful for whilst I'm out walking my dog. Like, that's what I do. And then at night, when I put my little one to sleep, I stay there for around 10 minutes and I take time for myself. I do that in his naps as well, but I take 10 minutes for myself, look up an affirmation that I want to just repeat in my head, do a bit of breath work, and then at night, I do there's an app that I use that I meditate with. And I think it just clears my mind and helps me sleep better.
Mm.
And I guess I viewed myself more positively and I feel more confident once I've done that as well. My current coach introduced it more. She introduced scripting, which is cool. So you talk as if you're in the place that you want to be in a year or so.
Mhm.
And there's, again, I'm very new to this aspect, but there are certain times of the month where it's extra special or extra powerful. I don't know if you are much into this at all.
I mean, I haven't heard that before. I know about manifesting and scripting. I haven't heard it in a different format, but certain parts of the month keep going. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
I think it was called Lionsgate, the 8th of the 8th.
Oh.
And again, it's certain dates that possess, and it's all to do with astrology. And again, I'm not an expert. This is very new to me. But apparently, we're in the middle of a lunar eclipse, which is bringing chaos energy. So it's advisable not to script during this, like the end, like this bit. I
Mhm.
it's fascinating. Yeah. Yeah, I would have never thought I'd got into astrology and how oh, if I'm honest, when I've heard about this chaotic energy and it says you might be a bit all over the place, you might have a lot of strong emotions and stuff like that. Oh, I lost my train of thought then. I had that as well. Like I had a lot of strong emotions around this time. And I was like, is this just in my head or does this actually happen? Does this affect people? And it's very interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think there's so many modalities out there, so many different beliefs around very similar things are just like maybe packaged in a different way, but they're all related somehow because as human beings, we try and make meaning of things. And so I always find it so fascinating to learn about anew. I don't know a ton about astrology. I know a little bit, but it's just so fascinating. Yeah, I agree. And that's good to know.
Yeah, if you look up scripting, it tells you what you should be doing, but basically you're just envisioning, and again, it is manifesting, isn't it? But just in a written format, like a journal, but you say what you want for yourself. And then I'll look back at it and say, okay, you envision your life, what next year is going to look like.
Yes. I imagine when you said the word scripting, which I guess it does make sense to write it down, but I was imagining like speaking it out loud, maybe when you're meditating or something, because I am familiar with the picturing, like in having the vision in your mind, because our brains don't know the difference between what's real and what we're imagining. And so if we can picture where we want to be, then our brains are going to look for
Yeah.
opportunities that get us there quicker in a way,
Yeah.
because we're paying more attention, right? The awareness piece.
Yes. And I feel like your mindset's elevated at that point as well because you've just gained this insight and awareness. I do know some people who do read aloud their like journals once they've finished script as well. So yeah, I can see why you thought it was like something you said aloud.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
oftentimes
there's really no wrong way to do it. Depending on what kind of learner you are, whether it's visual or auditory, it's got to come in to your mind either way.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a writer. I love writing things
Yeah,
down.
obviously.
Yes, of course. So that's how I process it best, I presume.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I also like that you mentioned habit stacking. So while you're doing one thing, you add something else. I don't know if you've read that. Oh man, my brain's not working today. There is a book and it talks about habit stacking. I don't know if you've heard that terminology before.
No, no. I'm gonna search that up after this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I find habit stacking, or using that, um, I think it's great, as long as you're not overwhelming yourself with it at the same time. I think there's a fine balance, but I like to do things on the dog walk as well, because I just feel like it's my time with my dog, and he means a lot to me, and I'm out in nature, which is, again, something that I really like. So, again, the spirituality and that manifesting sort of thing and the gratitude, that all aligns with that point.
yeah. And I can see you're talking about like the love for your dog, and that's a time when and also when you've laid your baby down to sleep, and it's like that gratitude because you're there with the people or the things that you love. It's going to be a really opportune time to just take it all in and be like, oh, I'm so grateful for this like
Yeah.
moment that I have with my baby or my dog or whatever in nature or whatever it is.
And I presume those working the 9 to 5, if they've got, like, side hustles or if they're building their business, that the evening time is their time to shine, there or the weekends. So much like I work in the evenings. Having that pause between going from just finishing the day is, I find, it not only helps my productivity, but it also just makes me feel better. Like, it doesn't make me feel like I'm just slogging away.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that as you say that out loud, I know that's true too. Like the idea of multitasking is not really a thing. And even though we think that, even though some people are like, I'm great at multitasking, no, that's not really how our brains work. And yeah, it's really important to have some kind of indicator. Yes, I'm shifting gears, right? If you're coming home from your 9 to 5 and you sit in the car for a few minutes before you walk in the door and you reset for, okay, I'm walking in the door and it's family time and this is
Mm.
where my energy is going to focus, then it's going to be easier for you to transition rather than if you're just jumping from one thing to another or trying to do multiple things at once, right? And it's not going
Yeah.
to be as effective.
Yeah, 100%. And just going back to when I worked, like, as a bartender and I was still freelancing, I didn't do that. So I was very overwhelmed and burnt out, and I didn't know what was going wrong. I was working 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. And yeah, I never took those moments for myself. So it's nice that I recognize that and I can, like, look back and see it. And again, this is what I would advise women who are doing their 9 to 5 and they're doing their business. Just take those moments because you deserve it, first off, but it also helps you just to refocus, like you said, transition into the different modes and refocus your energies as well. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about your business and like what you're doing, what you offer, how you help people?
Yes, of course. So, like I mentioned earlier, I help women to build a sustainable business. So, we start from the ground up. This is my coaching that I'm talking about. So, I offer one to one coaching within 3 months and 6 months programs. We start off with their business plan. So, we're looking at refining all of their business goals, their marketing strategies, social strategies, making sure that they are smart, like that they're measurable, attainable, reachable. Because at the end of the day, there's no point lifting these lofty ideals of 10K months if you're just starting off and you don't have the processes in place. So we input those in month one. Then we look at refining their offers, making sure that they're pricing what they're worth. So many women are undercharging, and I want to change that. But also looking at their ideal client deep into those buyer personalities. So we look at their content, their messaging, making sure they're speaking to the people that they should, and looking at how to sell, how to speak to people in the DMs, managing their leads and generating them. So looking at strategies as well. So that's what we do. So we shift it so that by the end of it, they have focus. And we also talk about the mindset and manifesting inside there as well. We address that if they're struggling with whatever they're struggling with that week.
Mm.
They will feel more confident, not only in themselves, but in their content and their messaging, knowing that they're speaking to the right people and not shying away from making connections in the DMs and building a community around them and then attracting the dreamy clients because that's what we want at the end of the day and hopefully achieve their income goals, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And in that process, because you're walking them through their messaging, right? You're using the kind of marketing skills and is copywriting like accurate when I say that? Like
Yeah, yeah.
your experience with that as well. So you're utilizing those talents that you have as well in this process of building these strategies.
Yes, which is why when at the beginning of this episode, I detailed all of my career basically, because it all comes into play in certain aspects with how I work with people. So that was my coaching, and I done a few social media services as well. So whether they need like whole management or like just their strategy and strategy power hours, because a lot of women can do their own content, they just need a focus and a direction.
Yeah.
So again, it's just things that all tie in very nicely. And I also have, because I love community, I have a Facebook group that I'm building and we do monthly networking events. So like deep discussion, we have a guest speaker every month to deal on topics. So I launched that last month. And so we had a woman talk about transforming your expertise into a course.
Right.
And my next one is next week. And it's a lovely woman called Amy. She's a therapist and she's talking about how to manage stress and anxiety because they are very prevalent in business owners and especially high in female business owners.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring that topic to the group.
Amazing. That's awesome. So if people want to connect with you on socials, what are they looking for?
Yes, so if they want to connect with me on Instagram is the main one I use, Freshly Brewed UK. Yeah, you'll see all the green, all the nature.
Okay. Awesome. It has been a pleasure, Lauren. Thank you so much for chatting with me today and sharing your story. And I look forward to sharing it with my audience.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed today, so thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in today, and a huge thank you to our guest for sharing such valuable insights. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback helps others discover the podcast, and it means the world to me as I continue to bring you content that supports your career change journey. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're feeling stuck in a career that doesn't fulfill you anymore, I'm here to help. My one-on-one career coaching program is designed specifically for women who are ready to break free from the grind and discover a career that truly excites them. In our sessions, we'll uncover what's holding you back, identify your true passions, and create a clear, actionable plan to transition you into a career that aligns with your deepest values. You can get in touch with me directly at shiftyourdayjob@gmail.com, or you can connect with me on social media at shiftyourdayjob. I'd love to hear from you and support you on this journey. Until next time, I'm your host, Brittany Cates, and together, let's shift your day job.